profile pics of
Ah.
Yeah, I've been rocking the Beaky since day one. So including the version of Brother Come Rise as a guide for my chapter as well.
Are you excited for the leaks that came out for Space Marine 2?
Exceptionally.
Yes!
On the Beaky is huge.
Excitement fills my bones.
It's leaked. I'm excited though.
Basically they released well, someone leaked, I think it was the studio that leaked it. Basically they released an image of the Beaky helmet and the original Mark 7 helmet. The Aquila helmet.
So they're releasing Firstborn armor?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically the helmets. I mean, they haven't announced. The thing I'm looking for is the studded shoulder pad, because that is something that I really want to get.
If they give out the
Sylvie.
shoulder pad, I'm gonna be all over that.
So I debated like playing a game tonight, but like my brain's just like I'm fried. Cause I've been making bad decisions with my break with like my sleep schedule. So it's just like no.
Welcome to my life. I've been stuck on Mountain Time since 2007.
I live in Mountain Time, so
yes, I'm living on your body clock, despite being 7 hours ahead of you.
Oh no!
I've been stuck on that since around 07. It is impossible. Thankfully, because I'll be moving to Pacific Time eventually, when Uncle Sam lets me into the country, that's going to be fine. But yeah, it's a nightmare. And also, my throat is exceptionally husky.
No, I understand. I'm the same way. Lore-wise, what is the best books to start with? I'm just going to default. If you're wanting to get into Warhammer 40k, Dark Imperium, Plague War, and Godblight are your best way to get into 40k. Happy to catch another stream, my friend. You taught me about Mechanicus. Awesome! A quick disclaimer, so that way I have something to call back to in case this guy responds to me again. My Matthew Ward video, I got called out on it for being wrong. I'm not wrong on it. The whole video is talking about the perception about Matthew Ward and what happened. It does not go into extreme detail because it's TikTok. And the person was asking why people view Matt Ward the way he does. Like the way they do with him. And that's the question I was answering. I was not going into details about actual specifics and what actually happened. It was just what happened and why people viewed it that way. So I'm just making
irony to that.
There is.
I mean, you look at it now. If a lot of people, especially unfortunately some of the Chadhammer players, they all are actually weeping and begging for Matthew Ward. They think that is now a good level because they hate all the stuff that's happened in recent times. Even some of the people who are not Chadhammers are all saying, we miss the days of Matt Ward where it was just the Ultramarines were the kings of everything and you had the OP Eldar Codex. It's funny how things all suddenly shift. It's very similar to what happened with Halo 4, actually, with the hate that's on. Everyone's going, were we so cruel to it? Were we so cruel to Matthew Ward?
It happens with Pokemon. It happens with fucking 40k. It happens with Halo. Everyone's like, they hate the new thing, and then when the next new thing comes out, they're just like, but this like old thing wasn't that bad, and then the next new thing comes out, and they're like, this was the greatest edition of our lives! Even though, no, it wasn't. Y'all did not experience Mind Shackle Scarabs like I did.
For me, it was some of the nonsense with Eldar.
Oh no, Eldar in 5th edition were cancer, along with Necrons and Grey Knights.
I thankfully didn't have to deal with Necrons. I did deal with Grey Knights though, with what's his name, the one with the sword that wants to go evil but he refuses.
The one with the sword. Do you understand how little that narrows it down?
But not all of them have a sword that tells them you want to be.
Yeah, it's Castellan Crow.
That's the one.
Who's wielding like the black sword of Antoire.
Yes.
It's God, he has to stay awake like every day.
All I can think whenever I think of the Grey Knights, there's always that Flash Kids video they did.
Stephen Beard, we're talking like anything Warhammer, from the hobby to the fluff, just having a grand old time, and people can come join in if they want into the chat if they have the role. How are you today, boss? I fell asleep on the couch at like 4 o'clock. And that was the worst decision I ever could have made, because my brain is just... I am fine now. I did chug down some coffee. I will be okay. But yeah, we're not gonna game today. We're just gonna sit around, chat, have a good time. But yeah, I just wanted to get that quick thing out of the way, so that way, if that guy responds to me, he didn't come at me maliciously. He's just like, you were wrong on these things, and I'm just like, I know. The video, that wasn't the point of the video. The video was to explain why people view Matt Ward this way.
On the coffee front, have you given a credit yet for your coffee machine, since it's shown up in every damn video introducing a Legion or a chapter thus far?
Do I have to, like, do a video introducing the fucking coffee maker?
Yes, absolutely. In the most mechanicus way possible.
You know what? It is spooky month. I will, if I talk about the Dark Mechanicum this month, I will give credit to it. I'll meet everybody halfway. Holy, I was just looking to see if you were live. Yeah, well, I'm live and I'm alive. So
Living is healthy.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, Dreadnoughts, are they made by the Mechanicus and they teach Tech Marines, or do Tech Marines design them? They are made by the Mechanicus. Different variations of the Dreadnought are made by different Forge Worlds. Many of the variations of Dreadnought have been lost. I believe the STCs for the Leviathan, the Deardeo, and even some versions of the Contemptor are gone. I believe.
I mean, the jump pack one of the Blood Angel study isn't around anymore.
Oh, I hate that fucking thing. I hate its name. When I was doing the fucking basic video for the Loyalist Legions, trying to say that thing's name was a nightmare.
What's it? Write it in the chat, actually, just so I can have a look. I forgot. What
I need to look up its name. One sec.
In fact, yeah, I'm gonna look it up as well. Actually, see if I can pronounce it.
Oh god, I love Horus Heresy. I think it's a great game system, but Jesus Christ, the names. By the way, you want to know something that pisses me off very fast? So they have Noise Marines for the Emperor's Children in Horus Heresy, and they're called the Cacophony, but they're spelt like K-A-K. But then they have their guns, and guess what their guns are called?
What are they called?
They're called the Cacophony, and it's spelt correctly.
Oh yeah, they're all about chaos.
Okay, Blood Angels Legion Contemptor Incendious class Dreadnought.
Yeah, I just call it the Insandious.
I
Because it is insane.
I hate this thing. And it's not like, no, it is genuinely a beautiful model. It looks great. It's just, I hate fighting them because they can deep strike. Deep striking Dreadnoughts are terrifying.
This is not the first time the Blood Angels have pulled this. Or at least the Deep Strike Land Raiders.
We don't talk about the deep striking Land Raiders. Which rival would you recommend to start in? If you're starting in 40k, Dark Imperium. Good sir, question. If you could see one fight in Warhammer, what would it be? For me, it's Angron versus Gaz. Ooh.
Oh. But would it be pre-Demon Prince, or would it be Primarch at his peak?
Right now, my brain is going... I would love to see a fight between Lionel Johnson and Fulgrim. Kind of have that thing where Lionel Johnson, like, he curb-stomped Angron, but I would love to see, like, when Fulgrim comes back, because we know he's coming back. The Emperor's Children are getting their own codex. I would love to see... Oh, plus, like, Eidolon's getting his own book. So, like...
Oh, no.
I want to read that Prep Boy book. I want to listen to it. I'm so excited. But basically, so I would love a fight between Fulgrim and Lionel Johnson, because Lionel Johnson's the best swordsman, and you know Fulgrim, he's gotta make his claim. His entire thing in Horus Heresy, like his demon model, the rule is that he has to charge something of weapon skill 6 or better. Like, he has to go after them, because you can't be better than me!
You do realize what's going to happen, boss. Lionel Johnson's just going to pull a Garvey or Loken.
Oh, I want him to. I
That'll be.
I
That'll be so
either
beautiful.
I either want the battle to end in a draw so they both feel unsatisfied, or Lionel Johnson loses but manages to get away. I
Or
want
he
that.
pulls a Riddle.
Yeah. Because, like, new Primarch should show up, he should basically be, like, the scariest thing. But, if you don't want Imperium on Chaos thing, one thing I do want to see is... I kind of want Orcs to come back and be the next threat again. But, like, have Gazgul, like, curb stomp the Swarm Lord. I would love that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they eventually might because of Yarik's death. You put that level of anger and rage in Gazgul, that is a very, very big option they can play with just for him. I wouldn't be surprised they have him literally send himself to the Cicatrix Maledictum, maybe to the Nathmon Gauntlet or something, just so he can get in there and just root out the one responsible for killing Yarrick, because he is not happy.
If you had to put 3 Primarchs together to make a pickup basketball team, who are you choosing? Fucking easy, bud. Lionel Johnson, Gullyman, and Jagatai Khan. Done. Gullyman to coordinate his 2 other brothers, Lionel Johnson to be the front man, and Jagatai Khan to sneak around the back.
The question is, if you were to choose Alpharius, would you end up picking 2 players or 1?
Oh no. my face just dropped. Thinking about, like, wait, is it even Alpharius on the field?
Maybe,
Do I get a penalty for picking him?
What if you get whole Legion is playing?
Hey, can I recommend a song to you? It's Sisters of Battle heavy metal song. I love it so much. Sure, you can recommend it. I probably won't listen to it, though, because, like, heavy metal and me are kind of weird. Finally, the answer to the question, who wins a fight between a lion and a 14th 4-armored snake? Who wins 5 million lions or fucking Pokemon? Alpharius is the ref. I do not trust Alpharius as the ref, and Gullyman wouldn't either. You know what? You know what? You know what? Believe it or not, I actually think Rogel Dorn would be the best ref. The guy can't lie to save his life.
Oh no, picture this. The coaches between the 2 teams is Perturabo and Rogel Dorn.
Perturabo would get kicked out of the stadium because he's too busy yelling at Dorn.
Yeah, just be personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, head coach, chaos team. That is an ejection.
Oh, it looks like he's jumping into the other team's stand.
No, all I'm just picturing is if it was ice hockey, they would end up calling the penalty box.
Oh my god!
Listen, Perturabo is God's favorite princess.
Hi, Dama.
The prettiest girl in the world.
It would be funny if orcs became the Krorks again. No, you don't want them to be that.
No.
The Krorks killed the old ones. And let's put it this way. Before the Necrons became the soulless automata that they are, they were nearly extinct thanks to the old ones. Like, putting that into perspective here. It took the Necron tier being turned into mindless automata robots, giving the mortal, like the physical realm gods living bodies to beat these floating fucking lizards. And then the only thing that no one can decide if they're fucking frogs or lizards, and that's what's pissing me off.
I mean, add more to this. We came across a proto-Krork just before the full founding of Astartes in, was it M32, M33?
I think
with
so.
With the War of the Beast. Because that was not a full-blown Krork, that was just a proto-Krork who actually showed up and negotiated with the High Lords of Terror. An orc.
That was so fucking funny. The War of the Beast series is a mix of quality, but the funniest goddamn thing you're ever gonna read is just the High Lord staring at an orc Death Star in the fucking orbit of Terra, and then suddenly there's a flash of green light, and they see a fucking diplomat, an orc diplomat, walk up with a stick, and he goes, "Oi there! names, whatever the fuck. And we demand the full surrender of your planet called Terra.
So essentially, what you're describing here is that this particular orc diplomat was a British Empire representative circa 1850.
Yep.
I mean, that's almost on par with during the Falklands War in '82, or War from Las Malvinas, depending which side you're on. When the Argentinians rocked up after the bunch of Marines who were based on the island held their area for a little bit, the colonel commanding the Royal Marines had the commander come in. He sat at his desk, like, proper British, proper desk. The commander of the Argentinian forces there, and the British commander goes and says, "I demand you leave these islands at once," despite the fact that you've just been assaulted and have ended up surrendering.
It's... God, 40K can be so fucking wild with its stories, dude. Just, oh my god. Was his last name Columbus? I don't think it was Columbus, but I don't remember this orc's name, but god, I want to find him again.
I did not make this weapon, but I discovered it.
Would you rather a lasgun or a bolter in real life? I'd rather neither, because, like, despite what the lasgun is in the tabletop game is, like, the most basic fucking weapon that you can get, you gotta remember that the lasgun is still terrifying, because it is a laser. It's a laser gun. Now, if I had a gun to my head, I would rather it be a lasgun, because at least I'll die quickly.
So, to add more to that, because I actually have the Imperial Infantryman's Handbook in front of me, because I'm using that as part of my cosplay for...
Oh, you found the toilet paper? Awesome!
Yeah, and it's the one where they put the Imperial Guard's Uplifting Primer and the handbook together in one single thing back in 2014. They actually described the fact the lasgun, you can never run out of ammo. It charges in the sun. If you want to actually use it and there's no sun, like you're suddenly on the Nostromo for some reason or somewhere else, all you have to do is throw it on a fire to warm it up, and suddenly you have charges back. And in a pinch, you can also turn the ammo pack into a grenade if you overcharge it. This thing is ridiculously OP, and it's considered the flashlight for so many people. It's just mad how OP.
You gotta remember that the joke where yeah, of course, of course we have to justify what we do. Look what we're fighting. And then the person responds, "My brother in Christ, you killed all the good ones." You killed all the good aliens, that's what's left, kind of a thing. The lasguns were meant for the good aliens. And those don't exist anymore.
It didn't even exist during the Great Crusade. I don't remember any good aliens back then.
They never talk about it. That's the saddest thing. Like, we know the beginning of the Great Crusade. We know, like, when they found Primarchs. But we don't know anything in between those events. Which really sucks. Is the Dark King lore accurate? Wouldn't the god they worship be benevolent to humanity? No. So, the Dark King is accurate. You gotta remember, though, that the warp is influenced by everyone, not just humanity. There were other races within 40K that affect the warp either just as much or more than us. And so when the Great Crusade was going on, when you heard the Emperor and you saw what the Great Crusade was doing to everything, yeah, no, that's not benevolent. That's mindless, wanton destruction for a one man's greed. So the Dark King will manifest as the chaos god of mindless destruction. It does not matter. And that's what everyone else thought, including people within the Imperium. The Emperor that you were reading about in 40K, the one that's at the warp entity, that's the one that's been formed over 10,000 years. So, like, it's this really confusing thing. Doesn't the Dark King domain already exist within the warp? Yep, as the Chaos God said, they're just waiting for Big E to kick the bucket. Because the realm's ready, the servants are ready, they just need the guy. And once he pulls the what's his name again? The guy who played Frodo.
Oh, Elijah Wood.
Yeah, like once he pulls the Elijah Wood and comes out like the shining beacon of a dark king, he's the guy. Yes, I did make a Spy Kids 3 reference.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
It's bad.
Oh, the thing is, it was always made for fun because the whole concept of that movie was it was made for fun by the director, just for his own kids to watch. Because of course the guy who
understood, but we're allowed to laugh at it. We're allowed to laugh.
Oh yeah, it is hilariously bad. I mean, the fact you got Khan as the grandfather.
Where is Vulcan? Last time we saw him, he was pushing the orc warlord known as the Beast into a nuclear reactor. From there on, we don't know. Hey, quick question. Is Dawn of War 3 good?
Subjective. Very subjective.
Okay, so I am a Dawn of War 3 apologist. It does... I see its good qualities. I see where they wanted to go. But I fully understand everyone's gripes with it. The resource management is extremely ball-bustingly slow. There was clearly a favorite faction, and hint, hint, it wasn't the Orcs or the Space Marines. And just the online mode was very flawed. The campaign as well, you jump between all three armies, because it's wanting to teach you how to play each army, but, like, there was clearly more love put into the Eldar campaign than the Space Marines and the Orcs. And it sucks because they brought back Gorguts, who is the funniest orc, aside from Blood Flag. So, like, if it's on sale for like $7 fucking, go nuts. Like, it's still a fun and interesting game. It's just like there are much better than it.
Hi, boss.
Hello.
I don't mean to derail your stream, but I just want to say real fast to everyone watching, send whatever prayers to whatever gods or lack of them you have to everyone in North Carolina right now, especially in the Appalachians. We're dying because an impromptu hurricane got dropped on our heads.
Yeah, I saw the news on that.
Lots of problems. Most of the Appalachians are flattened. All the ones in the city. I don't have power, so I will not be long. Wish you all the best of luck. And hope none of you have to experience this shit.
Yeah, please send some love all the way to North Carolina. They are... oh my god.
Yeah. You mix a hurricane with a mountain range, that's not going to end well.
Nope. Nope, it's not.
It was really bad because we had a southern warm front with the hurricane, and then Canada was like, thanks for this, boss, by the way. Canada was like, hey, do you want some cold weather? At the same time.
Yeah, no, that's not good. But yeah, stay
Sorry,
safe as
Hollow.
much as you can, Hollow, because I know it's a rough time out there for you guys.
Yeah.
Wait, Chad is wishing you and your family safety.
Thanks, chat. Things are going all right. Hopefully, here in the next few days, I'll have my power back, which means things will get back to normal. It's been cabin fever hell. Anyway, bye, y'all.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Would it be fair to say a standalone title it's decent, but in comparison to Dawn of War 1 and 2, it's eh? I would say it's like a 5 or a 4 out of 10.
Just think at the time, boss, when Eldar were, of course, the big giant, was this about the same time as they were starting to introduce the Inari faction? Because I'm trying to think when Dawn of War 2 was released.
Yeah, so
that time?
Yeah, so Dawn of War 3, came out like a year, like came out right near 8th edition. Like right near it. And it was that really weird, like, what the fuck am I looking at kind of a thing. Because, like, the Marines looked a bit taller, but, like, they weren't Primaris Marines. But, like, they looked taller and weirder and lankier.
I have an answer for that. The Blood Ravens clearly found the Sons of Antis and stole all their recruits.
But, like, as well, there was just, like, some weird decisions, like, gameplay-wise. Like, they made Gabriel Angelos the chapter master of the Blood Ravens. Awesome, good.
His was appalling.
But they gave him cataphracti armor. Okay. And then they did the CS Gato thing where he could do fucking front flips with it. Like, his entire special ability was him jumping up into the air and slamming down his hammer. And I'm just like, he's wearing the heaviest suit of Terminator armor the Imperium could ever make. Outside of, like, first generation.
Angelos, should we change his name to Gabriel Amy Rose from Sonic?
Yes. I don't know what you did with Gabriel Angelos, the near cyborg, after Dawn of War Retribution, but that's Amy Rose in power armor. I'm sorry. Like, the game looks and sounds beautiful. I think it looks like one of the best RTS games. But the gameplay is just, it leaves a lot to be desired. Like I said, like, I'm an apologist to it. I will like re-download it from time to time and like play through it and go like, yeah, like I see like where they were wanting to go with it, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't want to sit here for an hour and watch that resource ticker flip up. If you thought Dawn of War 2's resource management was terrible, you're gonna hate 3.
Question from Glockness Monster: where's the best place to buy the books? Now, I'm thinking, is that codexes or actual novels that you're looking for?
Yeah, codexes are actual novels. My Mr. or Mrs. is telling me to go to bed. Do I go to, or do I talk more dope ass Warhammer? Go to bed. As someone,
people who have destroyed their sleep schedule.
Yeah, go to bed. The novels. You can find them at Barnes and Noble or Kohl's or the Black Library website has it.
One thing I'll leave in on this as well: if you have independent bookstores in your area that can get these books in, please, please, please support them. Oftentimes, they also include a loyalty scheme like mine does. I can get a £10 off my next book purchase because I bought 6 books, of which most of those Black Library books, because I managed to get the trilogy for Dark Imperium, because I didn't realize it was a trilogy. I only have the first book. I managed to grab the Night Lords Omnibus and a few others, and I immediately got a £10 voucher for that, so I could use that for whichever book I want to get next. So if you're going to do it, please, if you can, use independent bookstores. They can order the books in from Black Library for you, and you get a bonus for that as well, and you're supporting your local economy.
Yeah. There is also a Humble Bundle right now selling like 18 books. So if you're into Humble Bundles and you're into charity, there you go. Someone they'd ask, what if they made a video game version of Warhammer tabletop game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel? We've been begging GW for that for years. Oh my god, an official way to play Warhammer? Like, support the original release? Fuck yes. Plus, like, it would be a great way to introduce people to the game in an affordable way, and as well, like, are you kidding me? That's an amazing idea.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
I was gonna say, oh no, boss, you know if they do that, they're 100% gonna do the MTG online thing, and a digital unit in their digital tabletop game will cost the exact same amount of money as a tabletop unit.
Yeah, it's either that, or they'll go down the route of Adobeing it, where you will have to get those things to unlock it. It's a great idea, but knowing that GW want to squeeze as much funds as they can out of it, because of course they are a business, and they have got some very powerful people in suits of briefcases, which makes the Flash Kids parody look like reality in many cases, they will find the best, easiest way to squeeze the funds out of me. Look at some of the card games that are coming out right now for mobile. It is that kind of thing where they will either make it fair by having everything at the same price as just mentioned, or they will pretty much lock everything behind the codex. So you literally have to buy your own codex twice, or other things as well. It's a great idea, but the execution could be very dangerous and could cause more damage to the hobby than good.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I would like to see if they could do it. I'm sorry, my hair is a fucking mess. I hate it. I need a haircut. But yeah, there are those concerns, and that's a kind of game where I'd be like cautiously optimistic about it. But like, of course, we know GW, we know how they act.
Like, the thing is, they can do it. It's imminently possible to do. They are at this point choosing not to, because their game is not that difficult to simulate.
Yeah,
ultimately.
and
like
that's something very interesting, that like their game is not that hard to simulate. Surprisingly, Warhammer 40k doesn't have the same problems as like making a simulator like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh do. Because like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, there's like the tons of like different combinations and everything. And trust me, as someone who blue screened a fucking simulator for Yu-Gi-Oh, proud of that by the way. Though card game simulators are hard, 40k, the only things that you're doing is affecting your own models, and the only time you're interacting with your opponent's models is either when one unit is handing out a debuff, or you are buffing your own units up. Which in that case, like, there's very little of that interaction. Or if like your opponent's trying to respond to something. In like that's like one unit instead of like 15 different card responses. And it would be very easy to make that. It's just like, will they pull the trigger? Will they not? We don't know. They're probably not going to, because they want their video games to be spectacles to get people into 40k. And with Space Marine 2 being the way it is, yeah, I kind of agree that sometimes you need the spectacle to get people into something, rather than, you can play the tabletop game at home. Which is something you can already do. Total War 40k would be awesome. It would, but then you'd need to focus it like around a star system or a planet. Bro, I like your videos. I'm genuinely a fan, and I hope you do well in streaming. Thank you. I tried to join your Discord through TikTok, but it said it was invalid. Is the link tree fucking working? I'm going to scream.
One thing that's likely happening is you will need to use not the TikTok app, but open it in a browser. Because I was trying to join Boss's server for pretty much months. It's only when I worked out that I switched to my phone browser as opposed to the TikTok browser, I was able to join in on the Discord link. Because there are some problems with the app. It does not like people trying to join Discord links through the app itself.
Yes. I'm making a new link. There you go. Remember to open up your remember to open it up in a web browser, not the actual app. I want to get into the tabletop game, but the models are so expensive. I always make the suggestion, buy secondhand. Tons of people are selling their models secondhand. I enjoy Dawn of War, particularly Dawn of War and Soulstorm. I think small skirmishes were more fun than full-scale engagements. Yeah, and that's like... there are... Even in, like, the tabletop 40k game, you're going to find people that are like, I like smaller 40k games, or you'll find the people that are like, I have dedicated my life to playing Apocalypse whenever I can. If there is not a Titan on that table, it is bad 40k.
God, I remember those days.
I miss 40k in 40 minutes as a rule set. That was good.
But yeah, like, even
hour-long games of 40k are the best.
Yeah, like, it's why GW invented Kill Team. It's why they invented rules for Apocalypse. They were trying to cater to, like, all those different groups. Like, 40k, the best way to describe 40k is, it is your battalion going up against your other opponent's battalion. Then Horus Heresy is your army, like your battle group within your army, going up against a different battle group. So it's like multiple different battalions going up against each other. And then, like, Kill Team is squad-on-squad skirmish. I just checked the Discord link. Didn't work for me either. Open it in a browser, please! Open it in a browser, please! They have a point, but Titans. God, I got to fight an Imperator Titan once. And I showed it on stream before. It was that giant Titan that I showed. I got to fight that. It did not fit on the table.
I love the fact that you do see an Imperator in Space Marine 2, just chilling off of the distance.
As a corpse.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why the hell is this here? But then I do remember, back in the mid to late 90s, Dan Abnett, before he was writing novels, was actually working on it was a comic, a black and white comic, of a Warlord Titan called Imperius Dictatio, along with a few others. It is ridiculously second, third edition with it. It's such a very 90s design, but it really displays some of the zaniness, but also some of the realities of Titan warfare as they have bragging princeps. And one of these stories is they restore a Warlord Titan who has been damaged in battle upon this Forge World. The machine spirit of this Titan is pissed because it still thinks it's in combat from when it was killed in its battle, and it starts laying waste to the entire forge that it's being repaired in. It takes 2 other warlords to actually take this thing down, which has no princeps in it. It literally is just the machine spirit on, going through its last moments of death prior, still fighting through with a fully armed weapon array as well, because I have no idea why they decided to keep the weapons active in it, but this is the Mechanicus.
So I have 2 questions here. Did I win? No, I did not win against the Imperator Titan. It was a 2v1, and my teammate never made an official teammate status with me, so he friendly fucking fired me. The bastard! No, he was a fucking, Imperial militia.
Yeah, that tracks.
And, so there's this model in 40k where it's like this giant, cannon, essentially. Like, it's a giant cannon bunker. Like if you played Space Marine 2, essentially it was like that plasma turret that we turned on to blow up that hive ship in the space. I had that. And I had a Devastator squad sitting on it, just like firing at the Titan with las cannons. The Imperator Titan looked at them and said, "Fuck that bunker," and launched a black hole missile. Mm-hmm. And luckily, my squad had cover save of 5 up. 2 las cannons survived out of the 5. And the bunker was gone. I also had 3 knights. In one turn, I had half a knight.
That's the thing. That's what Titans should do.
Exactly. That's how terrifying this thing was. So no, I and my teammate did not win. It's not like I'm angry. Like, we knew we were gonna lose. We just wanted to fight it.
Yeah, it's interesting how long can you last?
Exactly.
Something of that power, because when you see an Imperator to scale, they are ridiculously big. It's
well,
just
they've never been able to decide what scale Imperators are.
Yeah, it seems to be a variety of ones, but the 2 official ones I saw in Games Day 2008, they were about 3 foot tall. The feat of these particular Imperators that these 2 Games Workshops in England had built to then use in a game there. It was just as Apocalypse being released. It was about the size of a Astraeus battle tank in terms of the footprint of this Imperator.
Oh boy, Titans can be very fun, but the games required to run them are very long, and I understand why many people go, "That's exhausting." Here's a question.
They should. Oh, sorry, I was gonna say honestly they should just put them in Legions Imperialis or Epic.
Well, we did get Epic back with Horus Heresy Legions.
Yeah, but it's not really Epic because it doesn't have Eldar or Orcs.
I mean, fair. Here's a question. If the Emperor can't move from the Golden Throne, could they turn it into a Titan? Nope! The Golden Throne, we have no idea where it came from. It took the form of a Golden Throne, and if it dares move where it's from, we're all fucked.
Yeah, it's basically picture a bathtub full of that's empty with a plug blocking it. Now, this is a reverse bathtub. What will happen is if you were to remove the golden throne of the Emperor upon it from the plug that it's currently covering, you'll have the entirety of the local city sewer system vomiting up out of the plug hole and contaminating your bathtub. It is not something you want to have happen. So that golden throne and the Emperor is pretty much permanently plugging that hole before all the shitstorm that is the warp comes creeping out of it and takes over Terra.
I'm amazed that there are so many people trying to figure out a way how to get the Emperor off the Golden Throne, and it's just like, guys, they've kind of made a perfect shitstorm. There's no getting out of this. Unless you somehow can close a warp portal for good.
The problem is a lot of people aren't aware of it because I wasn't aware until I was watching videos, and I'm pretty deep into the lore because I've not read any of the last couple of Horus Heresy books. So I've only just got to the Buried Dagger, and I've just finished the first book of the Siege of Terra, so I've got a long way to go.
Oh yeah,
so a lot of that knowledge is not overtly mentioned, not in the codexes, it's not public, like general knowledge as such.
Yeah.
That's probably why a lot of people ask that question, because they're not fully aware, because GW haven't pushed that out there enough.
I'm amazed at the amount of people asking it, but it's one of those questions I can't get mad at anybody or upset, because I made videos describing this a lot, but not everyone's seen it, not everyone's heard it, and people are always going to try and find a way to solve a problem, but it's that kind of thing where GW and the writers made full certain that you can't solve this. There is no solution. You either delay the inevitable or pull the plug. It's that kind of situation.
Yeah, and as well as that, from a meta perspective, no one is ever going to figure out a solution in universe because the entire setup is a justification for a forever war.
Yeah, basically. And plus, it's also a good way to pull an AOS if GW ever feels like they want to do it. Doubt they will.
They made enough enemies with the Six Maledictum.
I was gonna say they basically already did that with the moving to an ongoing timeline.
I mean, fair.
I fully believe, and I've seen some people that even though were working at GW at the time or kind of talked about this. I think 8th edition was meant to be a way bigger reset than it ended up being. I think it was in I think the original design, because they start to introduce a lot of the same sort of things as they did at the start of End Times.
Yeah, and so this is, oh god, that reminds me. By the way, quick add-in. So the Dark Elder helped the Imperium fix the Golden Throne. They helped did minor repairs. They still said it's fucked. You got an extra couple centuries out of that thing. But the weirdest thing is that when 9th edition happened, they retconned the 8th edition timeline. So 8th edition, the Indominus Crusade was 1,000 years. We were well within actual M41, well, M42. But year 4,000, 40,000, 41,000 exactly. To give the Primaris Marines some veterancy. They've been around for 1,000 years. But then 9th edition happened and they rolled that clock back. They rolled it back so hard, Dark Imperium, the 3 books, Dark Imperium, Plague War, and Godblight, got retconned into instead of saying 1,000, it's 100. They've only been around for 100 years, which that's one person life, one person long.
Is it even 100 now? Is it not? I think back to the point. It's 30.
I can answer this because I actually have got the trilogy in front of me here, because as I mentioned, I just finished Plague War. So I have the first edition of Dark Imperium, which just says it's the M42. The opening part of the second book states the following: This is the second edition of Dark Imperium Plague War, which has been revised for this publication. Originally, this story took place following the conclusion of the Indomitus Crusade, a century after the opening of the Great Rift. To better integrate the events depicted herein into the ongoing story of Era Indomitus, they now take place around 12 years after the Crusade left Terra. The first part of the Indomitus Crusade is over, Imperium Sanctus enjoys some stability, Imperium Nihilus remains in grave danger. Guilliman returns to Ultramar to save his kingdom from the fallen brother Mortarion. War ravages the galaxy from end to end. The fate of mankind hangs in the balance.
Is it Nihilus or Nihilus?
I'm never sure, because I'm not sure if it's meant to be Nihilus as in nihilistic, but I'm used to saying hard vowels because my native tongue originally is Cymraeg, so we use harder vowels quite often, so I always tend to default to that.
I try to use the British pronunciation because GW, it's British, these are British writers. Yes. But, like, I can never tell if it's Nihilus or Nihilus.
I think it just depends if it's High Gothic or Low Gothic, to be honest.
That's fair.
It's fine. It's fine. Just call it Dante's house, because it is.
Dante's house and backyard.
All right, Dante, that's your fuck problem over there. This is my fuck problem over here. You're a dick!
The Emperor sneers over there. He's fine.
He's all right. He's got the line to help him.
Do total rewrites happen often with editions? Oh yeah, all the time.
Yes, yeah.
Like
I've got the older books behind me when they re-released, basically Rogue Trader, Horus Heresy, Chaos, and Imperium. Like, it had all the lore written from the Rogue Trader era, from '87, second edition, and third edition into like condensed books, and some of the stuff in that is fucking wild. I mean, Night Lords used to be Cornate followers back in the day. They weren't. It wasn't the World Eaters.
Now they think anybody who worships chaos are fucking pathetic.
Oh, you want to know the better one? The Ultramarines originally were they were the 13th chapter of Space Marines who took over from the previous 13th chapter who turned to chaos. That is the rogue
my boys be done dirty.
That's the Rogue Trader version of the Ultramarines originally. On the plus side, in Rogue Trader, Marnius Calgar has a dinosaur for a desk.
That's actually really sick. Can we bring that back? I want a dinosaur desk.
You've seen the artwork. You've seen the Rogue Trader artwork of Marnius Calgar. He's sitting with the two dinosaurs next to him.
Yeah.
They're actually proto-pteranids, but like they're velociraptors.
Oh, that's sick. I want that.
Can you imagine if that was the end of the first Tyrannic War? They break the hive mind. He keeps them as a pair of pets.
This one, I named this one Jackson and this one Bob.
I mean, it's good enough for the line. It's good enough for Russ. It's good enough for him.
Okay, it's not a 40k thing, but if you want to talk about like GW doing like timeline retcons, old school fantasy battle player in my case.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you of the Storm of Chaos.
God, that event.
GW, it was great. It was so much fun to play in. Like it was, I have very fond memories of those armies. I had a dwarf slayer army that was all metal. It weighed a ton.
Yeah,
it shipped like
red stock.
It also had it had a dark elf army, which is a dark elf army that was loyal to Slanesh, so you could have dark elves and demonettes in the one army, which is really cool. And you could have dark elves with the mark of Slanesh. But massive campaign, chaos sweeps through the old world, gets to the imperial city of Middenheim, storms the walls, beats all the defenders. It gets into a massive climactic battle. This prophesized champion of the empire rises up, goes off to face he's called
Archaon, yeah,
who's basically Abaddon, and goes up to fight him, gets just smited by Archaon. Archaon turns around and immediately gets headbutted by an orc.
Grimgor
Ironhide, who then kicks him off the mountain.
Calls him a puny man.
orcs are the best.
And then fucks
and
off.
I am the win. And then leaves.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit.
Right?
So,
but that
I've just
entire
found that
campaign...
easy described.
Yeah. They're dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'm actually looking around now, so he's got...
I have
so
a question.
Money, which is the pets.
I have a question. Why do so many things in Warhammer 40k get retconned? So, this is kind of... So, it's kind of an ingenious thing what GW did, but at the same time, like, I do get a lot of people's frustration with it. So, back in the day of Rogue Trader, it was an extension of Warhammer Fantasy. It was an expansion pack that became its own game when 2nd edition came out. However, they wrote themselves a really good get-out-of-jail-free card, where it is written from the perspective of the Imperium, which is a self-described bureaucratic and document nightmare. Like, messages that need immediate signing, like, you need to sign this now or we're fucked, take, like, a century to get up to the Imperial Senate to be debated upon before the High Lords even get to see it. So, like, that's the thing, is that records are lost, records are found, things are reported on, and never get to the proper authorities. That's the idea. You are learning everything as the Imperium learns it.
It's a parody of the British Civil Service from the 1980s.
Yes, and at the time we had an excellent show called Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, which even now is practically a documentary as opposed to a comedy, because some of that stuff still happens now, but it perfectly depicts how the civil service just try and keep things keep things going normally the same way all the time.
But like, creatively, it allows GW and its writers to do whatever the fuck they want. Like, squats are gone. That entire model line, gone. We don't have to make money on that anymore.
Good grief.
Or, hey, we have a new Space Marine model. It's always been there. What are you talking about? The Centurions? They were always there. You just never saw them.
I mean, even going back in the day. Gene Stealers? Yeah, they're Tyranids. Oh, yeah, the Imperium just was wrong.
They were always there. Like, what?
Yeah.
Fire Dragons for the Eldar? Of course they were always there. The Drukhari? Of course there were Dark Elves in 40k. You're just a racist and you never noticed.
Or you thought they were pirates.
Or you thought they were pirates.
I mean, I think the only time they ever did start to do advanced sort of stuff was in 3rd edition, when you had the era of the Necrons being introduced, the Tau being introduced. You know, you have that whole expansion going on, and then moving some stuff more with the Tyranids, because that's when they started doing what you're discussing in your video a couple of days ago about these campaigns where it advanced the story, where you had the it was Armageddon, Third War for Armageddon. You had the Eye of Terror campaign and Medusa 5.
Yeah,
but even then, the Tau are introduced and the Necrons are introduced in their original forms, and the Tau are encountered again, I think, about 400 years before the fall of Cadia, and the Necrons start emerging like 200 beforehand.
Yeah.
It's literally presented as, this is the Imperial records just being updated that these things exist.
Yeah, and something actually really fun and cool was why the Necrons and Tau were made. One, the creators wanted to bring in the undead army from Warhammer Fantasy, but they didn't want it to be the undead army. And then they were just like, okay, so we have like this really, really old faction. Why don't we create like a really, really new faction based on like all the trends of the 90s kind of a thing, which was like, what was big in the 90s? Anime?
Gundam. Yeah, anime and Gundam.
So like, it was that really cool...
You remember, the question for you, boss. Also, did you ever see a show called Heavy Gear, which was on Fox Kids back in the day?
God, give me a sec. I live in Canada, so I didn't have Fox Kids. I had Teletoon.
It was a Canadian production.
Also, apparently, in regard to
the Battletech show.
It's kind of like Battletech.
Wait, it was Battletech?
It looks
it's
like
kind of like Battletech.
It's kind of like
It looks
Battletech.
like Battletech. It's not. There was a Battletech show, which is also... I like it, but it's awful.
I like it, but it's awful. Many shows from our childhoods.
Yes. I mean, Escaflowne being one example. I think that was the first time I was introduced to it. That literally had every anime trope you could think of. It had mechas, it had dragons, it had knights. You name it, it was in there.
But like apparently with the Tau, Gav Thorpe had previously pitched to Andy Chambers basically Space Lizardmen.
Ooh.
And they went, we don't want to do that, we want to do this 90s thing, so they took basically his lore and merged it with the Gundam thing, and that's where you got the Tau from. It was like a caste system. And
by the way, everybody keeps making the joke that they're communists. No, they are not. Communists do not have a caste system. They
certainly do not.
They are very much like
they're collectivist to an extent.
To an extent, but like, who don't get any ideas above your station. They're very much based on like feudal Japan and like feudal Britain and everything, but like have the technology, like the super advanced technology. Do you think we'd ever see the hive mind of the Nids? No, and I don't want to.
No, I mean, that would be showing the magician behind the curtain like in Wizard of Oz. You don't want that.
Yeah, it's an eldritch horror at the end of the day. Like, the reason why H.P. Lovecraft works is that it's the horror you can't imagine and cannot see, but you know it's there. Even though, like, H.P. Lovecraft...
I was going to say, the only problem is he thought that was just, like, brown people.
Yeah, he was,
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
There's one other problem as well. If you were to introduce the hive mind in some fashion, you will then have the horny posting side of 40k.
Oh my god, a giant tentacle monster? Let's fucking go! Yeah, guys, I see what you do with lictors. I don't want to see anything else.
Not just that, they'll just like make them the busty versions of characters. Well, like the amount of thirst I've seen on flipping Reddit for Warhammer 4004.
I have
a Tau drill sergeant.
Listen, I have a
near. No, I'm not finishing that.
I have a friend. Her name is Lynn. She just did art of Big E taking it. So like, yeah, no, the horny part of 40k is very active and very live. So,
I mean, it's been around for a long time. I mean, you know, I remember some of the stuff that used to show up in the Bolton Chainsaw before it got removed very quickly.
Like, there's also the thing about people asking questions like stuff like this as well. It's like these things are deliberately set up as mystery boxes. Mystery boxes are not fun when you see what's inside them.
Yeah, no, the entire idea of it is that it's never supposed to be answered. If Nids were to be destroyed, who do you think what faction could do it? So that's the thing. It is very heavily hinted that if everyone just stopped fucking arguing, we could push back the Tyranids, all of us together. But that's the thing about Warhammer 40k. No one can get along long enough to do it. I.e., like the Tyranids...
Are you suggesting we a battle combination where you have the elves, the dwarves, and the humans all combined together?
Yes. The armies of man, the dwarves, and the elves coming together in the fields of Rohan.
I never thought I'd die alongside an Eldar. How about a friend?
No, you're not that either.
Shut up, foul Xenos.
Yeah. Shut up, Yanden.
What do I think of the Gullyman shipping? What do I think of most shipping? It's there. What do you want me to do? Tell you not to be horny? I'm sorry. Last time I told the internet to do anything, I got photoshopped on shit. So like, what do you want me to do?
Also, there are bear ships. Also, there are bear ships in 40k.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, what's the one from the? Because I'm currently putting together a Vindicare cosplay for EGX at the end of this month. So I've literally just managed to get the parts to make an Exodus, but the amount of stuff that happened with Levy and what's the name from Dawn of War, the Farseer.
Farseer Maka.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Taldriel or something?
Taldir, yeah.
Yeah, Taldir.
The one from the first one.
Yeah, the amount of stuff now, because that was just a joke thing someone wrote, and that the amount of artwork and stuff that has exploded from it's meant to be 52-7 is this thing, but it's in Roman numerals, so it's Levy, as everyone calls him. That is just insane stuff, and that was long before we had the age of Guliman and his elfie lady, which causes Lion to shout Guliman at the top of his voice. Not Guliman, Lion, I should say.
Sorry, I'm just dealing with a bot.
It has like the great thing of just like they literally have like 3 conversations and they show a modicum of respect to each other, and that's it.
Hey, real Sinistral.
After 15 minutes of gluing, I finished my ogre cannon.
Is Infinite in the Divine a good 40k book to start with? For Necrons, yes. For anyone else, you will be fucking lost.
But you'll be amused.
You will be very amused. It's a very funny book.
It's also a good book for Gene Stealer cults.
That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
Sorry.
Yo, your vid started to pop up on my FYP a week ago. Great stuff. Love to see more. Thank you. The chat bot is a Necron. No, it's not. A Necron would have killed me and I would have welcomed it.
No, that's a man of iron.
That's a man of iron. God, I love the picture. My favorite picture when Leagues of Votann came out was like the Ironkin talking to the giant robot for the Mechanicus. And it was just like, hello, fellow Ironkin, how do you do? 0110110000111. Be strong, Clarence. Be strong for the Votann.
They like full on do that in one of the short stories. They have it turns out that when the kin need to talk to the Necrons, they send the Ironkin to do it.
Oh, neat. I have not seen the throne room guy. I have not seen the guy making the throne room. What is a good dynasty for a newbie to use? I keep forgetting what the name of the fucking Necron dynasties are.
Does it matter now?
You can make your own if you want to as well.
You can make your own, but I think like the main one is Sotek.
Yeah, Sutek, is it? Sutekh?
Yeah, it's Sautekh. Sautekh.
What is the one that is just plain silver?
That's Sautekh.
Because that's like, is it?
Yeah, because that's the one that has I think it has. Wait.
Let's see. Yeah, you got the Charnavok dynasty, the Agdagoth or Agdagath. Not sure if that's hard or not. The Maynarch dynasty, Nekthist, which is the black and gold.
They introduced the new one when Caesaric came back, the Silent King. It's called the Caesaric dynasty.
So one with like the purple. No, they're with the teal in it.
They're the ones that are like rusted, like bronze. I'm trying to find which one. Which one is Imhotep the Stormlord a part of? Because Imhotep was supposed to be the main one.
Yeah, he was the main villain. That's why he's annoyed at the Silent King in Pariah Nexus. Like, legitimately.
Yes, he is fair of the Sautekh dynasty.
Ah, okay. He's a dickhead and he's funny.
Is he the one who starts collecting things?
No, that's
Trazyn.
Trazyn.
That's Trazyn. Yeah.
They establish this really cool thing, which is like, in order for Necron Lords to stay sane, they need a focus. They need to have something that they can obsess about. So Trazyn's is collecting. Orokin the Diviners is like mapping the future and like probability and stuff. Imhotep the Stormlords is conquest.
Yeah, he's
the 3 different types of autism hyper focus.
Yeah.
That's the Stormlord one, right? Yep. You can play Trazyn, right? Yep, you can play... Well, actually...
You can't play Trazyn, he's in the books. Yeah, he's still in there.
Oh, he's still in there? He just doesn't have a model that you can buy anymore.
Can you still buy his?
No, he got a new model recently.
Trazyn the Infinite?
No, Orokin did. Trazyn didn't.
Yeah, Imhotep did, but Trazyn didn't.
Hang on.
Characters... Trazyn the Infinite. Oh yeah, but he's not very good. He's got a strength 7 weapon with no AP.
No, they did Orican, they didn't do Trazyn, and people were upset.
Yeah, they took away their models, which sucks! Why did you do that?
They have plans, I'm sure.
Probably. Why would you ever give them a book and then take away their models?
The only thing I'm scared about is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, there was a theory that what they were going to do is they were going to release like a book tie-in Trazyn model. But they seem to have not done that. Like, that was like the theory for a bit, was like...
How much money...
He seems like such an obvious oversight in terms of like... And he's a ridiculously popular character and he keeps showing up.
Yeah, I do not understand why they would ever get rid of him.
No.
I mean,
I know his model was old, though. Like, they wanted to get rid of a lot of their Finecast models.
Oh, fine crap. Does anyone here remember the 25th anniversary model?
Oh, wait, no! They do still sell his model! Online only!
The second edition cover art one?
The Crimson Fist Beaky.
Oh, the one from the cover of Roger.
They do still sell his model.
Yeah, the one where they introduced Finecast. Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
It's $37 Canadian. So apply accordingly.
Oh no, my one of my best friends was working at the GW at the time when Finecast was introduced. He still has the email that they got sent telling them the things to say about Finecast and how to answer the various concerns about it, because they knew how bad it was coming out of the gate.
Because this was the era of Josh Kirby was the big boss at the time. He came into GW. He very much turned the business around. At the time, they're making minuscule profits, but enough to keep the lights on because they were much more of a game-focused business. When Kirby came in, he started introducing that more EA Activision style push up the margins as much as possible. He was one of the ones responsible for changing it where it used to be if you go to a Games Workshop, you'd have 2 red shirts, black shirts, blue shirts, depending on your era of going into Games Workshops when there were Warhammer stores. But it turns out, one of the people I know who used to work at said Games Workshops, he managed to run his store on his own. Now, Mr. Kirby and Co. were very interested in the fact that this could be done, so that's when they cut that second person from Games Workshops, because they're not necessary, because clearly it's working so well at Games Workshop Portsmouth that it can be done elsewhere. And that's when you start seeing a lot more of the older free stuff starting to cut away, where you have to purchase to get bits and pieces. It was that kind of era where this was just increasing more and more and more.
We can survive on whales!
Well, he literally said that. He said that the target market for Games Workshop games was middle-class people in their who were aged 30 to 45.
It's almost like that's not a sustainable business practice.
It's not.
No, they got to within 6 weeks of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, by the time you hit 2012, there was such a shift. I mean, at the time, I wanted to get stock in Games Workshop because I just graduated from university. I thought that'd be a great way. I didn't know how to. I bloody well wish I had, because I would have been rolling in the bloody dough at this point. And I would have had influence on some of the other bits.
It's one of the weird things. One of the things that dug them out of it is they sold off a bunch of the stock cheap to staff.
Yep.
And it dug them out of the hole for like a couple of years until they could like get their stuff together and Kirby moved on. But what that then meant is in around about 2018, 2019, a whole bunch of those stock options came good, which is why people like Duncan left, because he had stock and he cashed it in, and he went off to form his own company.
Yep.
So,
like,
hello, Aphrodite. Sorry, I just got tons of things here. If you want to get started in 40k, it's like $200. Starting gate. That's Canadian, by the way. I do have a question about minis before I build my first army, but do I have to match the mini weapons to the game's weapons I'm using? Yes, you do have to. If you put a plasma gun in your army, you better make sure that model has the plasma gun put on it.
Yes.
There is a rule called what you see is what you get. Or WYSIWYG. But, like, it helps identify that, like, that's what that weapon is, that's what this weapon does, and it helps your opponent know, like, okay, is that a plasma gun, is that a flamethrower, what the fuck am I looking at?
The game does kind of seem to be moving in a direction where that is no longer the case, but it is still currently.
Yeah. What's Finecast?
I mean, this was a big problem back in 5th and 6th edition. I played the guy who did that. Oh, can I go on a rant, boss, please?
About Finecast? Just let me get it up on screen here so I could show people the difference. So on the left, you're gonna see a modern plastic homunculi model, and then you're gonna see the old Finecast model, and you can decide and tell me which one looks better. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
So, circa 2010. Engagement this time have been doing very well with their new products. They had introduced washes just before, which was a huge game changer when that came along. They started to introduce better quality plastic miniatures with better sprues, a lot more options. But then they introduced Finecast. Now, at the time, the only time you get a resin model would be spending Forge World prices. And with Forge World, you had a few problems. You had to make sure you washed the sprues before you built them because the releasing agent was still on them, which of course stuff to peel off. Or you would have warped items. I mean, one person, he ended up trying to buy a Thunderhawk 3 or 4 times, and every single one had a warped wing. So he ended up getting 4 Thunderhawks because they let him keep the other ones, which I think he used for terrain pieces in the end. But then they introduced this thing called Finecast. The aim of the game was to have a much cheaper form of resin that's not as toxic as the Forge World resin, that can be light, easy to use. You still have to use superglue for it. It sounded like a match made in heaven. It was lighter, much finer, so you had better quality, more detail onto them. You know, it was looking to be great. One slight problem: they did not do enough QC with this. Secondly, the molds they used for these models were the same molds they used for the metal models these were previously done in. So ones like Pedro Cantor, Dawn of Lysander, Hellcrest, Space Marine side of things, Corbulo, and then of course you had the homunculi and all the rest. They were all old metal models made out of white metal. And the thing is, these particular molds are designed for metal, much heavier, much, you have to have a lot more power, and the stuff spreads much easier. With resin, that's not the case. So they tried to do this. Every model that came out, it was practically, they had a call with every 1 in 2 models, had severe bubbling, had warped pieces, entire stuff missing. Or you end up having models which, if you had them in a glass cabinet, they would fucking melt. If you were unlucky to have a cavalry piece from Lord of the Rings, like the Rise of Rohan, you happen to have a sunny day, or you lived in the American South, you'd come back to find that they had ended up like a spaghettified 3D print because they just melted. The quality was so bad. And they kept this going for, I think, about 10 years. Finecast was still going through, and everybody was just turning in stuff. I got the 25th anniversary model, which was the Rogue Trader Mimic for the 25th anniversary in 2012. I used that for my Pedro Cantor base. I'm getting 5 models of it because every single one was so bubbly. You had entire chapter shoulders missing on these pieces. You had bits you could not fix because liquid green stuff didn't exist back then. You had to use the proper green stuff, and you had to know how to sculpt to repair half of these pieces.
They literally invented liquid green stuff because of Finecast.
It's
like it was like
it's so bad.
To correct one of the slight things you said there, one of the reason Finecast was brought in, according to people who were working in product development at the time, was there was a worldwide shortage of one of the components that they used to make the metal models. I do not remember. It's one of the metals that was in it because it's a blend of a bunch of different metals.
It might have been tin, because at the time semiconductors were making a huge hit.
Yeah, there was a worldwide tin shortage, we'll say, and it basically made metal models no longer economically viable to produce. They actually just would not have been able to produce them. They did apparently 5 years of R&D on Finecast, and they got to the end of it, and they knew it didn't work. Like, they knew it didn't work. And the problem was they developed it for that long that they couldn't deliver a product that didn't work. So they had to then... So then what happened is their marketing team basically went, we'll just tell people it's better.
Even though it wasn't.
No,
Hey,
because
boss.
it was sunk cost fallacy.
If you want to show how bad it was, I'm just going to post now the images of the 25th anniversary miniature that I sent to Games Workshop through their the Project Recall team based in Warhammer World. If you look at the bases, you could shine a light through it. And this is a detail base. You can see the bubbling all across the banners, the baseline of the captain. It was bad.
Sorry, Chad. I just need to put you guys over here for a sec.
What I will say is people have a very low opinion of resin models, particularly GW resin models, because of Finecast. One, by about 2020, like 2019, 2020, for some reason, they are obviously adapted, like their systems or whatever. I haven't any Finecast models that came out in like the last 5 years. I've not had an issue with. They seem to have figured out how to make them work.
Yes,
right before they got rid of them. Forge World resin is not the same as Finecast resin, and modern Forge World resin, i.e. the stuff they've been using for Old World, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, that kind of stuff, that is stunningly good quality now. Like, I cannot speak highly enough of this stuff.
They have figured out their shit, but like back in the day, it was the wild fucking west of quality.
Absolutely. They were bailed out by the fact that GW had an insanely good customer service department.
Oh yeah. This is one thing GW does right, is that they've always been amazing with customer service.
Like, it's like famously good customer service, particularly if you're in the UK. But like modern, like the all of the resin, I've got dwarf stuff sitting. I need to take photos of it. All of the resin that has come out for particularly Old World, the new stuff that they've redone, like the old stuff that they've redone, and the new stuff that's sculpted, like the Bretonnian princess, Bretonnian damsel on the Pegasus, or the new orc war boss and stuff, they are like spectacularly good quality. Like, these are some of the best produced miniatures in terms of quality that Games Workshop have ever produced, and I can only imagine the Necromunda stuff is similar, because I've been told wonderful stories about
the Necromunda models are gorgeous. I love them. Like
I think the Necromunda models are probably genuinely GW's best 40k era range.
Hello, can you talk about the Black Sun? I'm saving that for October. I'm saving Chaos Squiggly stuff for October, because month of Spoop. Anyway, is Blood Bowl its own separate game? It is its own separate game. It takes place in an alternate fantasy universe where instead of conducting war, all the different races and all the different factions just play fucking football.
So they came across a thing called the Nuffle. No price of where that came from.
And it's fucking headed by a vampire and an ogre. It's great.
No, they're not even the heads. They're just the main commentators.
I meant like commentators.
Oh, Bob.
I love them.
Considering that's what I do, because that's my throat's husky, because I was commentating for 9 hours yesterday. That is very much.
Fuck! I've been just recording guides and shit. Oh god, I feel bad for you.
And even better, it was a motorsport event, because it was the local karting charity event.
Oh.
And that's in an indoor building, so the fumes don't go anywhere.
Blood Bowl sounds fun. It is incredibly fun. It's very fun. It's very simplistic. It can get really fucking stupid. the Goblin team, you can just bring a chainsaw.
Wait, what's the team that has the steamroller? Is that the
That's
dwarves?
the Chaos Dwarves.
No, the dwarves have the steamroller. The chaos dwarves have the bull centaurs.
All right, yeah. Dwarves can just bring out a fucking steamroller. It's great.
Snotlings also technically have a version of a steamroller. They call it a pump wagon.
Yeah. Just so you know, if
You
you
can
bring
buy
those,
halfway
if you
to the
bring
sandwich.
those items onto the field, it's considered cheating, and you're allowed to cheat in the game.
Yeah, you can cheat until you get caught. That's great.
I saw it goes well.
There's like goblins with chainsaws in it. There's actually a series of Blood Bowl novels. They're really good.
There's Blood Bowl novels.
Yeah, the Blood Bowl novels. Oh no, this is great. The Blood Bowl novels start.
Oh my god!
With a young nobleman. With a young nobleman, he goes out to become an adventurer, and he finds out that there's a
Hello, God, thanks for the sub.
That there's a dragon terrorizing a town. And he goes to the town. He's going to be a hero. He's going to ride out and be a knight and slay the dragon. And he rides up to the cave where the dragon is, and it turns out it's actually not a dragon. It's a manticore. And the manticore tells him, "Yeah, I've got to deal with the townspeople that they send idiots like you up to me, and in return I keep like the other monsters away, and so now I'm going to eat you, and then that's my deal done with the town for like the next 6 months." And it turns out he's darting around trying to not get eaten, and he picks up a spear and he throws it and he impales the manticore and he kills the manticore. And it just happens that walking by is a talent scout at that moment, looks at him and goes, "You'd be a great quarterback."
Man, you chucked that spear good!
And his name was Patricius Mahomes.
And he goes back to the town, and the town want to kill him because he's now killed the town's protecting manticore. And so he runs away with Talent Scout, and he's like, I'm going to give up being a knight. It's awful. I can't do this. I'm a failure. And the Talent Scout goes, no. You're like a natural at this. And he's like, no, I don't want you. Come with me. I'll make you a Blood Bowl player. He says, I don't want to be a Blood Bowl player. I want to be a hero. And he goes, okay. Who was the last person you remember who's the last person you know of who killed a dragon? He's like, I don't know. Who's the last person you know that killed a giant? I don't know. Who's the last person you know that killed a demon? I don't know. Right. Who's the star player of the Reichland Reavers? And he just rattles off the name of the things. Like, yeah, you want to get famous, you play you become a Blood Bowl player.
You survive Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
The books, they're old. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to go find them at a used bookstore. They're old, 2005 old.
I've got old school Blood Bowl miniatures myself.
I have the books. The books are amazing. Also, the team he goes to play for is the Bad Bay Hackers.
Oh no.
Their star player is called Rhett Carve.
Fuck.
It's that kind of book. Really good one. The official alcohol sponsor for Blood Bowl is
Bugman's Brew.
No, it's not. It's a beer called Green Ronin. And he's like, that's an odd one to be our sponsor. He's like, yeah, it used to be Hogshead, but they went out of business. Hogshead Publishing wrote Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition. Green Ronin wrote Second Edition.
That's brutal!
The people from that founded Green Ronin. I get it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Christ, GW!
It's such a good. It's written by Matt Forbeck. They do not take themselves seriously at all.
Of course, it was Matt.
You want good fucking satire?
Yeah.
Go to Blood Bowl.
So actually, someone asked me a question today. It's like, hey, could you do a video of all the Primarchs and their names and stuff, or just who they are related to real people, or what their characters are? And then I just remember watching the Arbiter of Ian video, and
he does that.
The story behind Perturabo is wild.
Oh yeah, the battle of Kensington Olympia.
So for those that don't,
Sorry. Go on, you go.
So, for those that don't know, back during the old days of Britain, like the 1800s, they were very much into the occult. One of these people was like Crowley or Rowley or something.
It's Aleister Crowley, and you're gonna hate this. You're gonna hate this. This happened in 1920.
Right. So these
Between the
people,
wars.
these people were like heavily into the cult. They truly believed that they could cast magical spells, kind of a thing. Aleister Crowley got kicked out of his group that he was a part of, either because like he was too much of a dickhead or something, or like he was trying to make a power play and it didn't work.
He was trying to make it right. So the real world backstory for it, he was trying to make a power play because while he did to some degree believe in the occult, he mostly was using it to have sex.
You know what? Can't blame him.
No.
So this whole battle thing, like this whole battle of like the fucking step there, was him walking up to the building dressed as a fucking wizard. And then goes into the door while 3 other people are standing at the top of the fucking staircase into the club, and they just start spouting nonsense at each other. Magical spells of they're just like chanting and shit. And then when like Crowley was going up the stairs, he got up to like the last step, and the guy at the top of the stairs just said, "Fuck it, I cast foot," and punted him down the stairs with his foot. It is the dumbest shit. But that is who Perturabo got his name from. And that's why Perturabo comes from Olympia. Because it was not that far from the Olympic or fucking, what's it called? It wasn't that far.
The club that the society, it still exists, by the way. It's still there.
Yeah.
Is in an area of London called Kensington and Olympia.
Yeah,
so what you're telling me is I need to rock up with my Iron Warriors mug when I go to London in a couple of weeks.
No, because they're weird now, but like
they're
weirder now.
They're way weirder than they were in the 20s.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not a socialite.
They go out into the woods and sacrifice shit to a giant owl idol, kind of weird.
Oh no, we do that in Wales all the time. That's quite normal.
No, it's unfortunately it's like Scientology weird.
Oh fuck! It's even worse.
It wasn't originally. It is now.
Christ!
What a shame.
The Primarchs are based on actual people. Yeah. Lionel Johnson is based off the poet. Is based off a gay poet.
Originally. And then of course Corvus Corax is basically Edgar Allan Poe.
But his name is literally Raven.
Yeah. Well, and also with that, Rogel Dawn, because his surname Dawn, in Welsh, Dorn, D-W-R-N, is fist. So his name is quite literally Regal Fist, Imperial Fist. He is bloody.
Which one?
Ferrus Manus, which is literally Iron Hands.
Yeah. What was Conrad again?
Oh,
it's Joseph Conrad. Joseph Conrad. Heart of Darkness.
Right!
It's Heart of Darkness.
Right.
So that's why the planet's called Nostromo.
Yes, it's based off the Nostromo book, right.
And also Heart of Darkness. And
what's Lorgar?
Oh, God.
The Odyssean?
I don't remember.
Lorgar 40k. Wisest of the wise in Colchian and is the Primarch of the Warbearers, the original 20, blah, 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 blah. Where is your inspiration? Lorgar is Scottish for Gaelic for found. For Lorgar Aurelian would mean Aurelian is found. Aurelian is the last name of the Welsh saint Paul Aurelian, whose name would have come from Roman and Latin schemes. Lucius Domitius Aurelius, commonly called Aurelian in English, was a Roman emperor who, like Lorgar, was raised in impoverished conditions, but eventually came to rule an empire. Aurelian is the adjective form of Aurelius, and when you use that way, usually refers to Marcus Aurelius, another Roman emperor. It's also...
Can you tell that?
It's also Lorgar's title. Arisen is a reference to the god of the same name. And Lorgar Province is a province of Afghanistan that during the Soviet-Afghan War was known as Gates of Jihad due to the large amounts of violence there. So,
I was going to say, can you tell that a lot of the Rogue Trader and second edition Warhammer 40k writers had classics degrees?
yes.
I mean, and that as well, Aurelian, Air is gold in both Welsh and Latin, so hence he's known as the Golden Sun. So you have all the things. If you know your classics or know certain languages, you're reading through these books and it's like, subtle.
There was a Welsh guy.
Very
There was
subtle.
a Welsh guy in your. There was a Welsh guy in your studio, basically.
What about Angron?
Yeah, well, not even that. It's just they probably read the Mabinogion.
Angry.
Isaac Parker, it's as dumb as you think it is. It's angry.
Angron. Angry Ron.
I'm currently on chapter 3 of Horus Rising, and I'm loving diving back into the lore. It's great. What's Gilliman?
You have to.
Sorry, I just want to answer this, and then you can say your thing. The origins of Gilliman's name is unclear. It was thought to be based on Robert Charles Gilliman, a Boston-based street artist in the 1980s, famous for using acrylic paints. However, Reek Priestley has since said it was a name he made up that sounded like West Indian revolutionary in a French colony, possibly Haiti.
But everything to do with them is just a retroactive thing on the fact that ultramarine is a pun.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's a color and a...
It's stupid.
I mean, I think the only time the ultramarines ever were ultramarine, as in the proper color ultramarine, was in 5th edition or 6th edition when they actually went for that much darker blue. Because previously thought they were that very pale blue, which is not ultramarine anyway.
I love that joke from TTS where it's the fucking Remleys from 40k Theories. He pops up and says, "Did you know that the ultramarines are not actually ultramarine, but a shade of cobalt, which would make their entire existence a massive lie?"
But they, sorry, graphic design nerd, and also like art history. Technically, ultramarine isn't actually a shade of blue.
One debt to society
it just means
later.
Historically, it meant any color that you had to travel across the sea to get.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it was ultramarinous.
Oh,
wow,
okay. Okay, that's cool.
Traditionally, it would be blues because you'd have to travel across the sea to get indigo from the Indus. But,
Molletzlakis, thanks for the gifted sub. So now someone brought it up, but I started reading. So me and my wife do this thing where I read books to her before bed, like full chapter books, kind of a thing.
That's so sweet. I'm jealous.
It's something we do together. I started reading Horus Rising to them, and top-notch book, like fucking 4 stars out of 5. Love it. It's great. They became enamored with fucking the description of it and everything. And then there's like moments where like they're laughing out loud. They're like they laughed so hard with Tarek like messing with Loken. It's great. But But then when we get to the scene where it's Cinderman talking to Loken, they are just sitting there with like their eyes open wide listening to me read, and I'm like, "You good?" And they turn their head to me and say, "Oh my god, they're just televangelists." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh dear, it's that Genesis song, Jesus, He Knows Me.
And yeah, like Cinderman's like that whole thing about like, what would you do if you saw like a drowning child in the ocean thing is like full on like prosperity gospel, like
it's I agree with Bricky and DJ and Shy's like saying when they reviewed the book. I don't know how anyone can read this book and come away thinking the Imperium is the good guys. I do not know how anyone can come away with that. Because the book blatantly throws it in your face. Like, it's not subtle about it at all. It is straight up, no, the Imperium destroyed this culture out of fucking nowhere. And, like, yes, there is a response. Like, they killed Hastur Serjanus, like, for mixing up his words. And then they killed the second envoy. understandable response is like military action, like understandable, justified even. The length they went to was horrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you send in the entirety of the Blue Wolves Legion. That is serious business. I mean, these are the kind of guys which I think in the opening passage, they don't mind cutting off a hand because it's getting in the way whilst they're dealing with.
Yeah, Viper's cutting off his hand. It was getting in the way.
Yeah, just such a pretty. That's like the opening chapter or something. That sequence.
But the book is so well written. Like, yeah, no, you get that the Imperium is evil, but there are still characters you root for. There are still people that like you grow an attachment to. Like Phoenix grew an attachment to Loken and Torgodon real quick, and it's like slowly building that.
Oh no, honey.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
so
I'm.
oh, no.
When I read Galaxy in Flames, the third book in the series, I was in class reading it. Like, we were doing, like, this book project and everything. We got to pick our own books. It was great. I whipped the book across the room. I whipped my Galaxy in Flames book across the room.
I'm gonna be honest.
Like I did.
I'm gonna be honest. I did that with the end of End in the Death.
Oh, yeah, no. The death in the end hurt me
spoil it,
physically.
I'm gonna read it soon.
We won't spoil shit, but it hurt me physically. But yeah, like, they're loving the book so far. Like, their favorite moment, I think, right now is the sight of the Titan where, what's his name? Yeah, like the Titan just standing there in the city. And, I'm forgetting his name. It's the fucking poet.
Oh, Carcassy?
Yeah, Carcassy. He just, like, leans back and looks at it, and they're just like, I can just imagine, like, this giant fucking thing just standing there. Like, oh my god. And...
weird side question. Have you read Magos?
I have not read Magos yet.
It's a collection of short stories. One of them is... because it ties into Horus Rising. One of them is Eisenhorn and a couple of his like band have to infiltrate a auction that's going on because one of the items being auctioned off is a photograph taken by Ufreti Keeler of Horus during the events of Horus Rising.
Wow.
Oh, it's awesome!
One debt to society later.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's called like the Keeler image.
Oh.
You've got the Keeler image, the Keeler comet, which caused the book in Legion of the Damned. What's it called? The Holocaust.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! Like Dan Abnett has like gone to the point of like he's like, yeah, I created these characters, I'm gonna use them.
Exactly.
It's like the Graham McNeil. I mean, Mr. McNeil is responsible for me breaking my damn foot due to the final lines of Angel Exterminatus because I'd finished the Iron Warriors Omnibus only a few months before. So whenever I get the chance to meet Mr. McNeil, I will literally tell him, "You nearly broke my foot, you bastard."
Also, bizarrely, if you want something completely different that will make you have a reaction at the end of it, it's an Age of Sigmar book. You need to know nothing about Age of Sigmar to read it. It's called Gothgul Hollow. It is a gothic horror ghost story. Basically, book. It is an amazing book. I got to literally the last page of it. I read the last line and I dropped the book in shop.
Yeah, that's what happened to me at the end of Age of Sigmar. I had the hardback version.
So, this is. I know for like October I will need to talk about Horus because like again Chaos Month, he's the arch traitor. But there is something in Death in the End Part 1 and it broke my heart listening to it. I do want to talk about it. I don't know if everybody here would be fine. It's like the first few chapters of the book of like a fucking Bible-sized book.
I know what you're talking about.
So in Death in the End Part 1, it is very trippy. Like, the whole final 3 books feels like you're in a dream. And you are jumping between, like, shit that's happening, like, right at the moment. Like, it jumps to, like, an Imperial Fist, like, in his last moments as he's been, like, stabbed on a wall in an 8-pointed star. His legs are gone. He's, like, breathing his last. He's looking out to the setting sun. And he's just like, make this nightmare end, please. At least for my brothers. There's another one where, like, there's a Blood Angel who's, like, losing himself to, like, something. He can't figure out what it is, but, like, he's losing it. There's, like, people, like, mindlessly walking around, like, where the hell am I? What's going on? But it's also jumping back between the narrator talking with someone else. And then, before, like, the book actually gets back to reality, you find out it's Horus talking. Like, because he, like, it hits you hard with that name. Like, Horus, look to Mercedes Olatin.
What?
Mm-hmm.
She's dead by this point.
Yeah,
she's
shoved into a fusion reactor.
Yeah, she's gone. She's nowhere to be seen. And he's talking to an empty chair. He has completely lost his goddamn mind. But he starts talking and saying this to, like, the empty chair, which he thinks is Mercedes. And he's like, there's a reason my father chose me as War Master. He didn't choose Gulliman because Gulliman did not have the stomach for it. He wasn't willing to go to the ends that he needed to go to. He didn't pick Lionel because Lionel is too secretive. He's too inward. He would never talk to anyone that he needed to. He wouldn't pick Dorn because Dorn's a brick, essentially.
Please tell me that's the line they said in the book.
He implies that he's a brick. He says it in a much more elegant way, but he's a brick. Sanguinius, he didn't choose Sanguinius because he's too perfect. No one would want to fail in front of him. But he chose me because I was perfect for the role. I was his favorite. And much like my father, I have a favorite son. I have a favorite son out of all of my Luna Wolves. Many people would think it is Abaddon. It's not. Abaddon is a good boy. He's a good soldier. He's a good warrior. But he doesn't have that calm in him. People would think of course, it's Aximan. He's literally a son of Horus. Son of Horus meaning, like, he's a legionnaire that looks exactly like Horus. Aximan, much like the lion, is too taciturn. He's too inward. He's too secretive. Some would think that my favorite son was Hastur Serjanus. He was the perfect one. That's the problem. He was too perfect. My favorite son, Mistress Olatin, is Garviel Loken. And that broke my heart. I was walking home from a friend's place as I was listening to this. I had to stop and put my hand on a tree and go, huh!
The boss was shook.
And it gets even worse, because he's interrupted in this delusion by the door opening up. Like, his new aide opens up the door, and he's like, oh god, it's happening again. My lord? Or, Malikhurst, don't be rude, I'm talking to Mercedes Olatin. My lord, Malikhurst is gone. I'm, like, whatever the fuck his name is. And Horus is just like, where are we? Oh my god!
Chaos hits, not even once.
The poor fuck doesn't even know where he is anymore. It's so heartbreaking. You're seeing, like, all this horrific shit, and the people that orchestrated it aren't in control. He is checked the fuck out. And it's so hard. It's hard in a good way. It hits you like a freight train.
It's been building up since, like, what, 2006?
2006, yeah.
Yeah, so all that has built up to that, you know, if you read Horse Rising, the first book where you introduced these characters, you went through the opening quadrilogy. You feel for these because you remember what was. I mean, for me, when I got to 40k, that was Horse Rising. So going from that to the horrors of 40k was a real shift for me. Say, what do you mean remembrances aren't a thing in 40k? And then I ended up reading Galaxy in Flames, like, that's why.
I mean, like, you could have them now if you wanted, and for your fluffier chapter. Like,
yeah, just not like a remembrance or order like that. It's like saying, yeah, the remembrance will come to my chapters for. It's like, oh, they're not a thing anymore. And then I get that scene on the Vengeful Spirits where they pretty much wipe everyone out apart from one remembrancer who writes everything that happened. And Dawn burns that document because this remembrancer, I think he's stowed away on Titan, ends up being executed simply for the crime of surviving and recording what happened.
Yeah, it's... Oh, God. You get to see the best and worst out of every character in the Horus Heresy. And God, my favorite book in Horus Heresy is No Fear. It is the Ultramarine book, my favorite one.
That's
fair enough.
Was it 5 pages describing that opening 10-second sequence? My heart went supersonic reading how that all started with that one ship ramming into one, which just starts everything off in motion. And it's a chapter at least of just the opening 10 seconds of what happens. It's just, you know it's going to happen, but you don't want it to, but you feel the opening horror of it.
And yes, it does.
Dan Abnett did an amazing thing with No Fear, is that it starts off with that, but then you jump to like hours before, and it's a countdown timer.
Mm-hmm.
It is... Oh my God, it counts down to it as you go through the chapters, and you're just like, someone get the clue!
I also think people forget how good Dan Abnett is as a writer outside of Warhammer too.
Oh yeah, no, he's a fantastic writer.
He wrote the script for the first 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Did he?
No, he didn't. He wrote the comic it's based on.
I thought he was a writer on the scripts too.
No, he didn't work on the films. He wrote the right. Oh, okay. Here's massive comic nerd because Cosmic Marvel favorite thing, in comics. Dan Abnett and Andrew Lanning basically launched a series in 2010-ish for Marvel called Annihilation, which basically took a whole bunch of, like, at the time, D-list cosmic powered Marvel characters, put them into a big series and did like a whole series with them. That spun off a whole bunch of stuff, including like a new Nova comic, and then he rebooted this concept called Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a very old Marvel
This motherfucker worked on Doctor Who.
Yep.
He also wrote Alien Isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Christ. Oh, he did he worked on Guardians of the Galaxy: The Universal Weapon. That's probably what you're thinking.
Yeah, like
he worked on the lure for League of Legends.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's prolific.
This man, Jesus Christ, how's his hands?
He did the funniest thing about all that though is he did an interview like last year when when Into the Death Part 3, or this year when Into the Death Part 3 was coming out.
I say.
Where he was talking about like the when they had the initial meetings about doing the Horus Heresy, and they got him, Graham McNeil, Ben Counter, James Swallow, and a couple others all together at Warhammer World. They were dubbed by the Black Library team, the Black Library editor, it's like, okay, you're the High Lords of Terra. You're the people that we're giving the Horus Heresy to. Come up with a plan for how we're going to do the Horus Heresy. And their initial pitch for the Horus Heresy was, it'll be about 15 books, maybe 20 if it's popular.
64 books later.
And the original idea was the first 3 were going to be Dan, then Graham, then Ben, and then the last 3 were supposed to be Ben, then Graham, then Dan.
Please let them finish the series with the line, "I was there. I was there when the Emperor slew."
No,
Horus."
it's worse. It's gonna kick you in the nuts. It's gonna kick you in the nuts.
Oh.
What I will tell you is that in one of the last scenes, there is a version of that.
Oh, lovely.
I'm gonna say it brings the story full circle. You are gonna get kicked in the nuts. Hi, Mish. Yeah,
which is also why my personal favorite Horus Heresy book. I agree with you that No Fear is excellent. My personal favorite Horus Heresy book is First Heretic.
That was such a book.
Listen, I have my 5 books. I have my 5 books. My number 1 favorite is Thousand Suns, because my favorite Legion. My second one is No Fear. My third one is First Heretic. My fourth one is what is it? It's
Prospero
actually
Burns?
Not Prospero Burns. Fuck.
It's a good book.
It is a good book, but like, it's my boys getting their asses kicked.
But the specials make sense.
Oh, they do. They make perfect sense. But my fourth book is Horus Rising, and then my fifth one is where is it? What is it? Angels of Caliban. I know, like, a Dark Angel book made it onto my top 5, and I do not like the Dark Angels books because they're boring.
I like the first one.
Descent of Angels is okay, but like, why do I like Angels of Caliban? Conrad Kurz and Lionel Johnson talking shit to each other is great. I am a shill for, like, Lionel Johnson acting like a fucking dickhead. And just like, Guilliman told us not to nuke the mountain, my lord. Do I look like I give a shit?
If you haven't read it, I highly recommend Lion, Son of the Forest.
Oh,
because they do that again.
I need to get that book.
So,
the Lion has conversations with most of his brothers in that book.
So, on the subject of the First Heretic, I'm about to be very cruel. I'm going to flex. So I'm going to shoot this into the chat.
He's flexing. He's flexing on me. He's being cool.
So this is coming into the chat in a couple of moments. Just gonna wait for my phone to catch up with me.
What's your favorite Tyranid book? I don't have one. Where should I start for 40k? Dark Imperium, Plague War, and Godblight. Those are the best 3 books to start with. If you want to get to 40k.
I was about to ask. So I'm fairly new to getting into the books themselves. So seeing something like the Horus Heresy can be quite intimidating as to where to start. So I would like to hear from you guys.
One sec.
To someone new.
One sec, Al. Fuck you. Fuck you. I know you're that guy. Signed by Aaron.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Because that bastard. Holy.
At the time, he was active on the Voltron Chainsword, and people were asking pre-Games Day 2010. So, who's going to Games Day 2010? Aaron posts up in the forum. They're making me go ... So I messaged saying, so how do they encourage this? I mean, are you like carted there in chainsaw? No, you know those orc runt herds things with the pokey sticks? That's what they do to the Black Library authors. They cart you off to Birmingham to do this.
Get in the cart, get in the mech, Shinji.
Quite literally. But he was great. He was a great laugh at the time. And the thing is, the signature he gave me was more unique because he actually screwed it up. Because the pen broke. Because if you notice on the left side, he's ended up having to do the upper strikes twice. So he apologized. So he said, no, it's great. I mean, I've got the only unique Aaron Dembski-Bowden signature.
Yeah, let's go. Chat, I'll show you right here. I'll show you right here, chat.
Which series was it you were wanting to get into?
Oh, just really delving into just the Horus Heresy.
Start with the first book. Start with Horus Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Start with Horus Rising. Read the first 4, and then here's what you want to follow.
So how I suggest it is that, yes, do read the first 4 books, which is Horus Rising, False Gods, Galaxy in Flames, and Flight of the Eisenstein. That gets it started. But then from there, it's really just pick a legion and follow that legion storyline.
Yeah, I mean, Fulgrim, if you want to find out about what happened to the Primarch, Ferris, and Fulgrim himself, but that is a dark book.
It is a book where I have, like, this one gets a content warning right off the fucking bat. There is self-mutilation. There is, God, there is so much horrific and graphic
Honorable
shit.
Sudoku with some of the artists. You've got choirs losing their legs. It's just dark. It's all the things you expect from Hellraiser put into a single novel.
It is.
Okay.
If you are not good with that kind of stuff, stay clear of most of the Emperor's Children's books.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
the Mirror Crack short story. I had to put it down and walk away.
The Emperor's Children are fucking intense, and I'm kind of wondering how the new people are going to react when the new Emperor's Children novel comes.
Oh, you know I'm reading it for Eidolon. I love the Emperor's Children. I love how fucked up they are. Which is ironic because I walked away from the Mirror Cracked.
What I was gonna say is the reason
Get
for
an Emperor's Children's army, boss.
Maybe.
Sorry, what I was gonna say is the reason the First Heretic is my favorite is because it works so well as a almost counterpoint to Horus Rising.
Very much so, yeah.
It is structured. The story of Argel Tal is very much a dark mirror of Loken's story and sort of like the path not trodden.
Yeah, Argel Tal, in my opinion, is the only likable word bearer. And when you follow his story, it is a Greek level tragedy playing out in front of you.
Yeah. By the time you get betrayed,
do you count Cyrene as a word bearer by that point?
I count Cyrene as her own thing.
Okay, fair. Because I'd count Loretta Sarin as a world eater.
Yeah.
Like by that point, even though she's not in a starting.
So this is where I'd have to ask you, Al, which legion are you interested in?
Oh, Thousand Suns.
Well, then you read the Thousand Suns books.
Yeah, Salamanders. I do have some interest in the Dark Angels.
So there is a timeline for 40K for Horus Heresy books, and it will give you as much of a timeline as it can. I noticed that they were missing some books. I think they're trying to figure out where the fuck they take place. Unless you want to read tons of short stories, I do recommend skipping the anthology, the anthologies. Because a lot of their short stories go fucking nowhere, but then for some reason, where some stories go nowhere, others decide no, I'm one of the most important fucking things you need to read. And I'm like, I want to hurt somebody.
Some of them are just excellent though.
They are Last Church, fucking which was, God, I'm trying to remember
Blood Games.
Blood Games is great. But yeah, if you want to follow Thousand Suns, it is 1,000 Suns, Prospero Burns, which is which essentially is both sides of those two books. You see the Thousand Suns perspective and you see the Space Wolves perspective. Then you go into the Crimson King, which is set years after those events, and then it just goes into the Siege of Terra from there.
Okay.
It says a couple of other ones in there as well. I think they're just mini books. Folks, you got for Thousand Suns, you have Rebirth, when Age Dark Switch is in the. I think that's one of the compilation novels.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you then. Because did the Thousand Suns show up in Scars?
Yeah.
They go to Prospero in that book.
It's like kind of important because that's how Iron Man gets one of the shards? Question mark.
Yeah, he gets one of the shards in that book too. So
from Jagati, I think.
Yeah. That's...
Also, the White Scars are cool, and you should read about them.
Yes, White Scars are so fucking cool. I'm trying to find the Night Lords books. Where are the Night Lords books? Or are they only short stories?
Yeah, because I think
they're full novels.
There's a great short story in one of them where you talk about Lion and Conrad and mouth each other, and it's just where the Lion says, "I'm so sorry to give you such a low blow," and the Praetorian of the Dark Angels tries to swear in Nostroman. And, they're impressed by his ability that you've got the accent wrong. You know, they're actually complimenting his attempts to insult them.
Oh my god, the Night Lords barely have anything. Right, their entire books. Oh god, I forgot. They're either in the anthology books, or they only got short stories, or they're with the Dark Angels. Fuck.
One that's really good is there's an audio drama called Butcher's Nails, which is set between Know No Fear and Betrayer. In terms of the timeline, and it is best described as a team bonding exercise between Lorgar and Angron.
That's fucked.
It goes well. It's actually it's really good. It's also where Loretta Saren got introduced and was then taken into Betrayer.
Oh, Saren, what a character!
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole thing of like if they remember they did a picture of Angron saying if he comes into slamming doors, what do you do? It's just Saren underneath saying, asking what bills he's paying to be slamming doors on my ship.
Yeah, I'm trying to find like where all the Night Lords books take place on the timeline, but I don't think they ever put it there.
It's not on the maps that I'm looking at.
Fuck, because like they have the Long Night, Child of Night, and the Conrad Kurz, the Night Haunter book. But that's all they got for Night Lords? What the fuck?
Was it because Aaron was writing the Night Lords trilogy?
Yeah, he was writing Night Lords at the same time, roughly.
Oh fuck.
So they're basically all just and let's be honest, they're not any different in 40k.
No, they are. It is remarkable how much the Night Lords have not changed.
In a lot of cases, it's the same people.
Yeah,
I love where like someone straight up calls them monsters, and they just start laughing, going, "Yeah, we are. What are you gonna do about it?" Oh, we're monsters.
Have you seen the Iron Within animation on Warhammer TV?
I have not.
It's not bad in terms of animation quality. It's set in 40k. It's an Imperial world that is being invaded by the Drukhari, and like their commanders, like we have this like last ditch like thing, like dating back like tens of thousands of years. We have this ancient like codex that we can put into our astropathic system to send out like a warning, to send out like a distress signal, and like invoke like an ancient like pact, and like the Emperor's angels will arrive and save us, is like what they believe. And they do it, and the Iron Warriors show up because that's who it was with.
Uh-oh.
They fight the Drukhari.
Cool.
I mean,
you're our slaves now.
There are some tragic stories. I mean, I remember one, I think it was the Space Wars, in one of the short stories where they deal with the Drukhari in this one, where it's a yet to be pacified world. They literally show up to help, first of all, destroy the Drukhari raiders. And so it was Russell or Wolflord.
It was a Wolflord. I know the story you're talking about.
It's great.
It's the Wolf Lord. It's the Wolf Lord of the 13th Company.
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because he goes, great. Now that you've done that, we'll be happily welcome you into this. And the guy goes, sorry, no. What do you mean not?
We just
no,
fought for our
want to
freedom, asshole.
And literally, the last line of, and as the population danced in the streets, the drop pods fell from on high to burn the world. It was like, oh,
Christ, guy.
It just showed how brutal the Great Crusade was, where it was the Emperor's way or you're underground, because literally the Wolf Lord just executed that command immediately.
A hand extended in friendship while the other one's holding a gun. What is the current status of the Night Lords in Fluff? Are they still separated into warbands? Yes, they are. The Night Lords will never be united. They are all murderous scumbags that will quickly betray the other. They are the worst of the worst. Like, let's put it this way. Chaos Space Marines think they're scum. Like, the Black Legion does not trust these fuckers as far as they can throw them. They will pay them by saying, go fuck up stuff over there, and then stay clear of us.
And the Black Legion is correct in that opinion.
Like, we just send them somewhere to do things.
And they do it. They get the job done. It takes a while, but they get it done.
I mean, the Night Lords of ADHD, we just send them at some place distracting to keep them occupied for a little while before they then move to somewhere else.
Is there a reason for the lack of Night Lords books? They're not a nice legion to write about. It's very hard to write torture tastefully. That's my reasoning.
They also really weren't, like, their role in the heresy was to be a distraction.
Yeah, they're I don't know what to tell you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just more the way the Night Lords are depicted is hard enough, because GW's trying to make it a little bit more marketable as well for a younger generation. Hence why we had some of the kids' books that come in recent times, which amused me to no end. It's like, we're going to do a children's book of people living in the Imperium. Right, GW, right. What a wonderful idea.
GW, I always wanted to see a child get atomized. What the fuck?
I kind of want to read those, because I have to know what they're like.
Apparently they're good.
Yeah, I've been told this.
Like, just the one child atomized boss? That's just one line in a book.
Hey, brother, do you like my mother's skin coat? Random Night Lord. Yeah, there's no getting out of that one.
Yeah.
What's up, my homie? This is Count Insert Night Lord name here, unboxing my new skin coat.
Yeah.
This came up from floor 3.
Yeah. This is hey everybody, welcome back to the Chaos Podcast. I'm here, Nostromo Bad Boy number 8. We have a brand new unboxing. It is made out of human flesh, so we're just going to open the box with this box cutter here and just wait for the screams to die down from the box itself, because the box is actually a rib cage.
And streaming it all over the system.
A lot of things will be streaming out of that.
Yeah, through tortured astropaths. So it's actually going out on the Astronomicon.
So yeah, if you're gonna start with the Horus Heresy books, there is a comprehensive timeline. I posted it in the Discord chat there for you, Owl. But yeah, so I need to go make dinner. I'm starving, and then I promised my wife that we would play a quick 1,000-point game of 40k. So yeah, we're ending it on the Night Lords tonight. So yay!
Good, you're bringing your wife to the side of the neckbeard.
They play orcs and world eaters.
Good.
So it's you have the option of choppy killy death or buzzy choppy killy death.
Exactly.
I prefer the more Woggers option. Anyways, goodbye.
But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. TikTok, please go subscribe to my YouTube and my Twitch. Very much appreciated. We get to 10,000 subscribers. I do a full breakdown on what the fuck Malice is. And I'm not talking like 10-minute TikTok video. No, we're deep diving that shit on YouTube. But that's 10K subs on YouTube, so get to work. But until then, if you want to watch my videos early, please subscribe to my Patreon. It helps keep the lights on. Or you can donate directly to my Ko-fi. Or, you know, just send me some biddies or send me some donations on YouTube. Very much appreciated. I love you all. I will talk to you all on Wednesday when we play some either Dark Tide or Space Marine 2. Good night, everybody!
Ave Dominus.